Since I usually have so little time to make YouTube videos, I'm gonna start documenting my animation process and make videos out of what I'm working on. I won't record every single frame, but I'm just gonna start keeping like a production diary of all the different projects that I'm working on and make time-lapse videos like what you're seeing right now. And this also give me a good excuse to do a little Q&A session. So these videos will also serve as Q&A, and also will I'm gonna talk about other stuff that I'm just thinking about, or books or movies or other animations that I've been consuming recently. And right now, of course, everyone's in a certain situation, like worldwide, as far as daily routine has been disrupted. So we're basically being forced to be introverts, or stay inside a lot more. And there's always a plus side, pros and cons to most environments you might find yourself in. So if you are at home all the time now, this gives you a ton of more free time than you might not have had before. And of course, people are consuming more and more content online right now. But I think it's really important to balance producing with consuming, because like this is actually a really good opportunity for a lot of people who may have had creative projects on the back burner, just in the back of their minds, but have always never had the time to do it. So right now, like it really is the best time to write that book, or draw that comic, or record that solo album that you've been meaning to but just haven't been able to get around to. Or just figure out how to use the internet to start a business, or figure out how to adapt one's business to where it doesn't rely so much on physical properties. Because this is a topsy-turvy time. But luckily, we have the internet, and humans need social interaction. So luckily, we can still get some of that connection with other humans from the internet. But it's still, obviously, we also need like hugs and stuff like that, but we can't do it right now. But I mean, for me personally, my lifestyle hasn't really been disrupted too much, because I am very introverted. I don't really go out that much. I just like to work on my stuff all the time. But now I can't even go to the library, or Barnes and Noble, which I do like to go to take little mental breaks from animation. But luckily, the weather's been really beautiful where I'm at, so I'm still walking and listening to music and thinking about things. But in terms of like connections, and both social connections and also creative connections, things have been disrupted, or like projects that I had lined up have been postponed, or I'm not really sure of what the status is on them in general. So I guess the silver lining in this for me personally is that I have more time to work on personal projects like music and other types of things like animation tutorials, working on a series of storyboard tutorials, which I'm gonna post on YouTube as soon as I can, hopefully one a week. So that's how, for me personally, I'm trying to adapt myself to this situation. And but as far as like I'm just talking to a microphone right now, but I'm not connecting with anyone, but maybe someone on the other side is connecting with this stream of word salad that's coming out of your speakers. And it's just a very weird state that we're all in when you look at it, of what's actually happening just in general, just with the internet, just connecting with people, these fossil records of people, because I'm not here right now. This is what's happening right now for me personally, is the most recent moment in the history of the entire universe. Me speaking into this microphone is the most novel thing that's ever happened, ever. But now that someone else is listening to it, this is all, you're hearing this all after the fact. So this is old news. Yet somehow we're connecting in a weird time travel sort of way. But even if we were in the exact same room, there would still be barriers. It might not be time, but there would be other barriers. Not just like a language barrier, we could speak the same language, everything, but a perception barrier. What I mean by that is we're all together, but we're all also alone. You can never truly connect to another person's mind in the same way that you connect to your own mind. Like you'll never 100% know exactly what it's like to be anyone else but yourself. And no matter how much I might try to reach out to you and explain everything I'm thinking and feeling, you'll never know exactly what it's like to be me from the inside, with all of my memories and all of my thoughts and all of my associations with the words that I'm saying right now. Even like the word tree. Any word, but we'll just say tree for instance. Everyone who's hearing this word right now is picturing something completely different, because it's tapping into the memory bank of the individual mind who has seen and touched and smelt an entirely different array of trees than anyone else. Even if two people looked at the same tree, they'd be seeing it from very slightly different angles. Not only that, but it's not just that your perceptions would be different, but the interpretations of those perceptions would depend upon the skill set of the person perceiving them. For instance, a painter perceiving a tree would very likely look at the shadows and the light and how the shadows and lights and colors sculpt the form of the tree. Whereas a small child might look at the tree and think in a much more symbolic way and a simpler way. And when asked to draw a tree, they'd draw a couple lines and then a broccoli shape on top of those lines to signify the tree. But that's not a tree, that's just the child's perception of what the word tree means to them personally. So I guess what I'm going on about is different ways we connect is to put these little artifacts of our minds out into the world for others to perceive and to make their own and to incorporate into their own perceptions. And really, it's all fossil records of ideas. Every single thing that happens becomes a fossil record of an idea. So basically, we can spend all our time consuming other people's ideas, but I think this can often lead to a very depressed state, because you might feel like it's almost like winning the lottery or something, where it's like a temporary boost in happiness, but it doesn't bring any true worthwhile value. That's not a very good example. Maybe like, I don't know, drugs, but that's more extreme. But basically, I think humans have an impulse to create. Like when you're little, if someone put a box of crayons in front of you, you wouldn't even have to ask what to do with it. Your impulse would be to experiment and to create, and that's intrinsically satisfying. It doesn't matter if you got paid to do it even. You didn't even know what a job was when you were little. So I think right now we're at if you have a lot of free time, this is the perfect opportunity to tap into that creative impulse and to start making things that have just been fragments of ideas in your head, and to try to just get started. And that is the hardest part, is getting the ball rolling. And if you don't know how to get the ball rolling, then the first step is to research how to roll the ball. So, for instance, if say you want to write a short story, but your problem is you don't know how to come up with ideas, well, that's what Google is coming in handy for. Or if your problem could be that you have too many ideas, then it's an issue of focusing on the top 10 best ones, and then juggle those 10 around in your head for a few days, and then narrow it down to 5, then narrow it down to 3, and then out of those 3 you pick 1, and then you only focus on that one. And you could write down all the others to return to at a later stage, but it's very important to just focus on one main project. There's this one Russian proverb I like that goes, if you chase 2 rabbits, you won't catch either one. So basically, just stick to one idea until you follow through with it. And once this isn't to say you can't work on multiple things. I think working on multiple things can be really healthy, but when it comes to that, it's more about blocking time, like blocking specific hours to work on these different things. There's a really good book called Deep Work by Cal Newport, and basically deep work means is that you're working on tasks that are cognitively demanding, but that can't be automated. They can't be easily automated. So these are like highly creative type tasks. Something that's shallow work would be like responding to emails, or liking posts on social media, or doing something that could easily be automated by AI or a machine. And really, this is the way to adapt to a constantly changing economy, where the technology is often replacing jobs that humans had done for years and years. If you can figure out a type of process or thing that you can make that's good, would be really, really hard for a machine to do, then you're more protected in a constantly changing and evolving economy. Anyways, I don't know if this was useful, or I'm really just spitballing things, but if you have any questions about anything or animation, or pretty much anything like the creative process, or movies or books or whatever, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out things to talk about to fill up the time on these time lapses. But I'd love to hear your questions, and I will probably answer them in the next one if I get enough. Anyways, please stay safe, stay happy. and we're all in this human experiment together.